أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعلني وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري واشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم رب إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. All right, inshallah, we're going to continue with the second ray, and we were discussing how we see divine unity, where we were delving into the topic of everything that we see in creation is a sign that shows this proof of divine unity. And there were some questions that were asked, and they were very good questions in terms of how, although everything is seen as good, balanced, everything is clean, everything is working in harmony that we see in the universe, but there are instances of, as the author pointed out, like there were some ugliness, disasters, illness, tribulations, and death. So how is that possible when everything that the author is claiming is that everything is beautiful, good, and justice that is in the universe? And the Quran, the speech of God, also keeps reminding us of contemplating on these things, on how everything is an ayah in Arabic, or a sign or a proof to his, that tells me about his existence, that everything points to his being the owner, the creator, the sustainer, the Lord of the universe in whatever we do. And we did discuss in detail about why the different degrees are necessary for us to understand the different qualities being manifested, and how even the lesser degree is important for me to appreciate the more degree. And that is how I get to know that, I need always the eternal mercy, eternal happiness, eternal health, something that is continuous. But for that, to realize that, I need to see the different degrees that are necessary. And there was a part of the death as being a good thing, which is, not really in the civilization or in the normal conversations. Is something as a taboo kind of topic, like nobody likes to talk about it, but whoever gives life is the one who gives death, and it is also points to the same owner. It points to divine unity as well. Just like life points, or existence, everything points to it, so does the death, or the things that are taken away from transience, also points to who is the source that is giving or taking those things away from this world. And also there was the creation of Satan, is also something that is good and is necessary for the human being to make progress, to learn and correct him herself, and is good. So also their species, in terms of also is the creation of a species, their creation is good in that respect. So anything, all the different degrees, Satan and his species are all necessary for human progress. Now we're going to go into the second question and see how this will enlighten us as well. So if there's any comment or question, you are free to ask now before we can start. Otherwise, Mariam is going to read for us, inshallah. She volunteered. So Mariam, from the second part of the question, you can start reading.
The second part of the question. All right, so we can accept the answer about Satan and the unbelievers from a general point of view. But how is it that the absolutely beautiful one, the absolutely compassionate one, the absolutely self-sufficient one, who is absolute good, inflicts evil, calamities, and ugliness on particular wretched individuals.
The answer, whatever God, beauty, and bounty there are. Good. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. The whatever good, beauty, and bounty there are, they come directly from the treasury of mercy of that absolutely beautiful and compassionate one, and from his particular bestowal. Evils and calamities, on the other hand, are occasional results out of the many results of the general, universal laws, which are called Adat Allah and represent his universal will. Since they are minor and required by those laws, he creates them in order to preserve and maintain the laws, which are the means to universal benefits. But in the face of those minor grievous results, he responds with special merciful assistance and particular dominical favors to the cries for help of individuals afflicted by misfortune and tribulations, and by showing that he acts as he wishes, and that all aspects of all things are tied to his will, and that universal laws, too, are always subject to his will and choice, and that a compassionate sustainer needs the individuals who cry out at the constraint of the laws and responds to their cries for help with his favors, through exceptions to those universal divine principles and general laws and their minor evil results, and his particular favors in making himself loved in special ways. He opens up an unrestricted infinite field for the unrestricted infinite manifestations of his names, and opens to the doors of particular manifestations.
Thank you, Mariam and Rayan. So we'll try to understand what this is. There's a footnote on the second question. Okay, let's see what it's saying. The answer to the second part of the question. Let's increase this thing. Oh, I don't know. Wait a second. There we go. Sorry about that, just so that the footnote can be read. The answer to the second part of the question has great importance. It dispels numerous doubts. So somebody commented on that. So the question is, all right, so again, in the first part, as the author mentioned, everything is good in creation, beautiful and good, and is necessary. So he says, now the question is asking, so we can accept the answer about Satan and the unbelievers from a general point of view, but how is it that the absolutely beautiful one, the absolutely compassionate one, the absolutely self-sufficient one, who is absolute good, inflicts evil, calamities and ugliness on particular wretched individuals? So to me, this same question, which is similar to kind of the first one, but now it's tying into the qualities of the absolute one, absolutely beautiful one, absolutely compassionate one, absolutely self-sufficient one, and inflicts something that does not maybe go along with those names: evil, calamities, ugliness. And now he also has this particular wretched individuals, or probably the ones who don't do good morally, or yeah. I see there's a hand. Mariam and Rayan, do you want to say something?
Yeah, so I think that this is a very important part with this text. He responds with special merciful assistance and particular dominical favors to the cries for help of individuals afflicted by misfortune and tribulation. You know how there are droughts everywhere, in California there are many droughts, after that, rainfall and all that precipitation comes and carries the drought away. So there's a bunch of the assistance that comes. He sends assistance to help.
And so, basically, what I think on from that is that every way is help. Even if it comes with trouble, there's always help at the end. And even in the trouble, there's always help. Basically, there's a reason for everything.
Yeah, good point, guys. Good example of the drought and good, everything good. Or you want to add something?
Yeah, no, this is an amazing way of also viewing the world in terms of nothing is purposeless. So going back to the example also that Rayan shared about, we may see, oh, what happens? These things are drying, there's no crop being grown. But then it's also a way for me to realize that everything is in need to be given existence. And what I may seem to be, oh, injustice or no, not mercy, but then there is actually mercy for me to recognize in when it's followed in with, like you were saying, with mercy bestowed in terms of rains coming in and crops are producing. So it is as if I have to experience this order in the universe to be able to recognize the needs and then how the needs are met. And because it's not water that is making the crops grow, but the rain is sent from somewhere. Nourishment is provided from somewhere as well. So that was interesting also. And what did Mariam say again? I couldn't catch it.
Mariam, do you want to repeat your comment?
Yeah, it sounded good, but I lost my train of thought.
So my comment was like, on the sentence, I thought of it as every trouble is help, and basically there's a solution to every problem.
Cause and effect.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mariam, for sharing that. There's a solution to every problem. Yeah, I think that was also very striking to me in terms of, when I have a question, then there must be an answer. Just like we're in school, you're like, oh, I don't get this. And so you raise your hand, you're like, oh, can you explain this to me? So even the existence of the question necessitate that there must be an answer to it. So we may find even ourselves like in situation, trouble, in terms of anything that we experience or go through. But there's, like you were saying, there's always a solution to all our problems here. Otherwise, existence here would just be meaningless. So yeah, thank you, Mariam, for sharing that as well.
Thank you guys for all these beautiful comments. So let's go into the answer, right? So whatever good, beauty, and bounty there are, they come directly from the treasury of mercy of that absolutely beautiful and compassionate one, and from his particular bestowals. So whatever you see, whatever you are enjoying, whatever you're having, going through, as Faria said, we have to accept the one who has willed the things the way they are coming. So that requires a very interesting attitude of a human being, not to fight the will of the Lord of the universe. Of course, if you are sick or something, you do look for solution to get to your healing. We discussed that. But the things that there are a lot of unknowns in the universe, and we pray, to, save us from, harm. These are all good prayers. But there are things that are still that happen that wake us up, and they are necessary for us to realize what the other, where the goodness is coming from. So evil and calamities, on the other hand, are occasional results, right? It's not the norm. It's not the regular thing that happens. Nobody can say, it's always, the world is always evil. There's all calamities, all sorts, but they are occasional. Most of the time, we are all good.
That's true.
There is goodness all to be found all over, but in our individual cases, sometimes there may be occasional results where something goes wrong or something doesn't work right. So for us to learn, otherwise we wouldn't learn who the owner of these things is, or where the things are coming from. So occasional results out of the many results of the general universal laws, which are called Adat Allah, and represent his universal will. So the general universal laws, which represent his universal will. So what would Any comment on what people understand from this? So, for example, there are like many laws that are operating. Some people will call it gravity. They would call it law of freezing, law of heating. There's like thermodynamics laws. So there are a lot of things that are named. Yeah, gravity is the most popular one, I would say. What is that? It is something that is operating in the universe, but is it the ground who's doing it? They say it's a gravitational pull from the earth. But how did it get that? Where was it 9.81 blah 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 number that
9.87.
So there are like multiple laws that are operating in the universe.
This is interesting.
Yeah, so the earth's for the earth's stability, and occasionally maybe there may be an earthquake here and there to regulate. It's used for regulation. It's also part of the order. And Brother Ali, we'd love to hear from you.
I was waiting for you to finish your comment. Yeah. Excuse me, just a minute, please.
No, go ahead, Brother Ali. We'd like to hear you.
Okay. Just I needed a few seconds. Okay. Now, I think before the second part of the question, we quickly passed on the previous paragraph, which starts with as for transience and death. Now, there, of course, specifically, the author is mentioning about the creation of Satan. So the creation of Satan, the author explains that even since he is the cause of striving and competition. I think we should emphasize on it. That Satan is the cause of striving and competition, the springs of many spiritual progress. It is the motivation point, if you like, engine, motor of many spiritual progress. That is also good. Yeah, the creation is beautiful in that respect. What I understood from it. Now, if I say, if there was no calamity, if there was nothing that I don't like, yeah, and if there was no degrees, levels of different creation, what are we talking about? Now, everything is perfectly good. Everything is perfect as I want. Do I need to struggle to understand and try my best to discover the qualities of the Creator manifested there? And then, therefore, can I make progress in improving my potentialities and becoming more and more aware of the new realities? I would have no enthusiasm to learn anything new, to do anything, because everything is perfect. Now, don't say it is like paradise. Consciously, we will go there and experience it without getting into or involving in competition. But we will continuously see the new types of revelation as the Quran, new types of manifestations, creations, as the Quran describes it. We don't know that. We are here in this world. What we see, there is no standard. There is no standard creation here. That is the reason why there must be variations in creations. But the variations within which degree or which level now? I mean, 99% good, 1% is bad, calamity or something. This is not enough. Everything must be. Why not enough? Because okay, I can do away with the 1%. 99% is okay with me. It's just a laziness. We have to take into consideration the purpose of creation. I look at myself. Everybody should look at himself or herself. Why am I here in this world? What am I expected to do in this world? Why do I have endless human qualities and they need to be discovered? I have to struggle. Struggle where? If the universe was created only at one flat level, I should struggle nothing. Everything is ready for me. Everything happens as I want. I should never go to the education systems, educate and learn anything because everything is as I want. It means I am perfect. I have created with perfect knowledge. So I don't I don't feel that I am ignorant of anything. It is not possible, but theoretically speaking, no, no, it doesn't work in this way because the purpose of creation is for me to get involved into a competition so that competition means I will learn this and I will learn that as well. And then the second chapter, the third chapter, the fourth chapter, first year, second year, I will pass with the best grade to the third year and then another best grade for the to the fourth year. So life will be really exuberant, fruitful, and excitement, and I will make progress in discovering what is within my potentiality, which has no end. So, what does it mean? I will understand from that. I'm sorry, this one, shut this one up. Well, I will, excuse me, it disturbed me. I will understand that my capacity has no end. That is one. On the other hand, universe has no capacity. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm disturbed with this telephone call. In universe has no limit. That is another aspect of the world. Why is it so? Because I cannot get to the end. Why? There is a universe created for me, as far as I am concerned, and there is no limit to it. The purpose is not for you to get to the limit. For me to understand that the source of existence of this universe, sorry, something is going on. Okay, for me to understand that the universe has no end for me, I cannot reach the end. I cannot reach the end of my capacity. So I will understand that there is no end for my progress, and also the source of this kind of creation has no limit in his qualities to manifest it. That is the point. Because the point is not to get to the end. Point is to understand that the source of existence of this universe has no limit, and there is, for me also, there is no limit in my progress of discovering my reality. Both of them are fitting now. In order to continue to discover my reality, I have to have I have to struggle to find out the new layers of the creation. For example, like this, I am reading a book. I read the first page, but I know that there are other pages waiting for me to be read. So excitement. Let's see what the second page has. So I go to the second page. Yeah, I got something more. I got excitement from one aspect as a happiness of, as a pleasure, as a result of learning. And also another expectation as a result of, there are some things more to learn. Look at the competition continuously drags me into making a progress and discovering the reality of my creation and of the reality of the universe. It is a perfect arrangement. Of course, in this respect, I know the book, let's say, is 500 pages. I learned only 2 pages. Oh, there are 498 pages left. No, no, no. You have to discover more. You have to struggle. So you have to learn. For example, whatever you want to do, even you want to do a farming, you have to go and read the books and learn how to make the farming in the best way in order to discover the secrets of the order of the universe. Go and work. Go and work. Go and study. The more you study, the more result you get. The more crop crops you what reap.
Cultivate, reap, yeah.
Yeah, and then you cultivate. The more you cultivate, and the more excitement you get, and you get hungry. You eat more. You get hungry to eat more, and then you can continuously appreciate how merciful the Creator is. Winter comes, everything is died. Oh, it is winter is very bad. There is no greenery, etc. Oh, but when the spring comes, you get how much excitement you experience and appreciate it. If someone complains the creation of winter and maybe very hot days of summer, only spring, okay, like in California. So is it pleasurable? You, you don't really appreciate what you are given. It becomes normalized, if you like, in your eyes, and you don't get the excitement of learning. For example, we are here, we do something good. What do we feel? Ah, I am very happy. Sometimes you do something bad. I do. I don't know. You don't, but I do. I do a lot of things bad and something really wrong. Hurt people's feelings and use my sharp tongue to criticize people. I'm very expert on criticizing people. So I know, and then I become, oh, wow, how much damage I caused to this friend of mine. I say, I should go ask for forgiveness. And really, I get pleasure in asking for forgiveness as well and reconstructing my relationship with my friend. If I do, if I make no mistake at all in my life, I don't know how to ask for forgiveness. I don't know how to become humble, how to realize that I am a created being. I need help from a most powerful one of my creator. I don't seek refuge with the compassion of my creator because I am in need of anything. Everything is perfect. So can you imagine what I am really missing to take the pleasure of presenting my neediness to my creator? I realize I need this, and the things I need. And I don't see anything in this world that can provide me with this, with the answers to my needs. So please, my creator, I know you can. I am really seeking your help. Yeah, it is very important to realize one's reality in the human beings that we are in need of endless things. We are in need of making progress. We are in need of experiencing the pleasure of seeking refuge with my creator like a child. How he or she comes to his or her mother or the father, but mostly mother. Fathers are very tough people. So I know how it looks like really from my own life experience. so so I seek refuge with my mom. It is said, please, mom, give me this, huh? That is a very pleasurable moment in my life. We have to see that being humble, the being needy, being hungry, how much pleasure we experience in by seeking refuge with the up, infinite power, infinite compassion, infinite mercy of my creator. I feel so secure that although my needs are endless, but I am aware through my neediness, my creator is the source of satisfaction. So I feel completely secure in realizing that my creator is the source of satisfaction. So this small amount of, uh, how to say, mm, the things, I wouldn't say bad things, the things that I don't like, calamities. Yeah. So if you go back to the very last verse, very last sentence of the answer, okay. So here, this sentence is so long. What shall we do to the? Okay. Through exceptions to those universal divine principles and general laws, the minor now their minor their minor evil results in his particular favors and making himself loved in special ways. There are many different ways of loving my creator. Yeah, in by doing so, God opens up an unrestricted infinite field for the unrestricted infinite manifestations of his qualities, his names, and opens the doors of particular manifestations. Now we need different uh, levels of manifestations, also different qualities of manifestations. Sometimes I have to be happy with what is created, so see the mercy of God there. Sometimes this is very important, see uh, experience some kinds of creations, so that I need to seek refuge with my creator and experience the pleasure in seeking refuge with my creator. Only you can help me. I understood my creator. That is really another source of another kind of pleasure. There are many ways of communicating with our creator by thanking him, by asking him for forgiveness, by presenting our needs to him. Different ways of getting in touch with my creators. In order to have this opportunity, the creation is realized or presented to me in such a way that I have to go through some difficulties, problems, so that I will experience different kinds of relationship with my creator. I hope this a little bit helps me to understand this very important problem of evil, actually.
Thank you, Brother Ali. Ajbeza, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for all those who've shared their thoughts. Just one thought that just came to me as I was listening was, even in our practical life, day-to-day practical life, we're always judging things based on how much return they'll give to us. For example, I go to school for X many years and then I get a job, and then after so many years or whatever, then I see the benefit, for example, from a financial or monetary perspective. And this can be applied to everything. If I choose to do this activity, this is the sort of return that I'm getting eventually, and there's usually always like a give and take. So when it comes to my existential needs and the struggles that I experience, I get the struggles as in like um, trying to make peace with my existential reality. Um, it has when I face those or when I experience those struggles, it must necessarily, in order for those struggles to um, make sense or to bring about a return, if you will, that is worthy of that struggle, it must necessarily look to an infinite return, if that makes sense. Because not only does my humanity necessitate such a struggle, but when I think about it, my life here on Earth is also one that is transient. So in a way, like nothing would be worth my time if it doesn't bring about endless investment back, if that kind of makes sense. I mean, the examples aren't too great, but what I'm trying to say is that while maybe like within the conditions of the universe itself, the means do not always justify the ends, as far as my existential reality is concerned, all means can justify the ends as long as that end looks to an infinite source. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajbeza, for sharing that. So learning never ends. That's how our life is structured. I mean, it's amazing. We're in this school of the Lord of the universe, who is teaching us at every step of the way, in every situation. And like you said, Ajbeza, with the practical example in terms of the school that we go to, and then as a result, after our graduate degrees, we get a result of maybe you're into some profession, but as a kind of your reward. But here based on our existence in the school of the universe, as I like the way also Brother Ali kind of emphasized on how we, through the struggle and this learning, is how we learn to seek refuge with the one who can keep me or satisfy my needs. Furia, you wanted to add some of the points?
Yeah, thank you for bringing all this valuable reflections and comments. I think adding on to what Asim said, like taking really this existence that we are in right now as a learning experience, it's a learning platform. And how do I learn something? It's really through trial and error or through making mistake, because if I don't make mistake, then I wouldn't know what is it that I'm in need of, or like you were saying, existentially speaking, really, I the more mistakes I make, the more I realize, oh, what am I running after? What am I really concerned about? Like you were also saying, it was very highlighting in terms of everything is transient here, but yes, I have to do my studying here. I have to do the farming, not just for the farming's sake, or not just for just to utilize the field that's given, but within that, it teaches me also like my ultimate purpose and ultimate aim. And I think in this whole journey of being in the school, we realize at least what is it that matters at the end of the day, or what truly is my object of seek, or of, I don't want to say worship, then it becomes general, but like, what is it that I'm truly looking for, yearning for? What is it that I'm seeking? What's my end goal? And if I don't go through these temporary experiences, like you were saying, that these are means to get to an end. Yeah, but it's not the end here. But these are the means for to make me realize how to get to the end. I don't even want to use the word the end, but how to get to that which I'm seeking. So yes, I'll go to school. Yes, I'll study hard. This competition, to be honest, I think we've all been through tough situations. I know there are some younger ones here. I remember when I was my sophomore year studying engineering, computer engineering. I got into it because I was so fascinated with it. In high school, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I want to do. My sophomore year, I was like, oh my God, this is hard stuff. I don't know how to program. Like, how would I do this? Let alone sitting down for an exam, 45 minutes, and come up with like an algorithm. Are you kidding me? 45 minutes? No. But then, like Miriam was saying, that you recognize that there's a need in you, that you need help. And so things are available out there. I mean, there are other fields that you can pursue. There are like things like within the part, what I'm trying to say is within the part of the education, and that's something I'm still learning right now, that within the part of the education, the help that I seek is still part of the learning, right? And so we go on utilizing ourselves in the best way we can, and then at the end of the day, what did I learn is really what matters. Really, I think at this point, something I've been reflecting over. What did I learn is really what matters at the end of the day. Yes, I will keep going in terms of doing that which I have to do, getting things, but I shouldn't really be fixated on that. This universe offers so many opportunities, so many options for one to, I think, reconstruct, just like Brother Ali was saying, reconstruct the purpose of their existence, which is really, what is the purpose of my existence? To work out my relationship with the source of my existence. And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's something that I think it's a work in progress. Alhamdulillah, as long as we are given existence, then let's utilize it to reach that ultimate aim and goal. Just wanted to share out some thoughts that occurred while you guys shared some valuable comments. Alhamdulillah, thank you.
Thank you, Fariha. To add to that, Sarah, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. What came to me was a beautiful realization that brought me some relief, that I hope I can share with words with what Brother Ali and Fariha have shared. The way that we can discover that our capacity to learn is endless, and it points to them, the one who makes us with this capacity that enjoys learning and gives us this capacity that doesn't have an end. So this points to a maker that has no limit. For me, something came to me as a realization that was just such a relief, almost as though all characters, like we talked a little bit about competition or you know, interacting with people, it just, the focus of making it just like Dr. Ali always says, the universe is a university, to just learn about this limitless being and just to be immersed in that, like an ocean of limitless learning. It's such a relief to sort of take out all of the other characters, all of the competition, all of like the people problems. And as long as I am constantly renewing this dedication to learn through my feelings and through the universe, the maker, then I just felt like that's sort of a relief. Like it's not about anybody else. It's not about anything else. It's, as long as I am immersed, like totally submersed, which is the universe, right? Like we're in it and there's no way out until death, of learning this maker, then nothing and nobody else matters, if that makes sense. For me, I got very happy with it.
Thank you, Sarah. So no student loan required with this education. It's- okay. Anybody else who would like to say anything?
No, that was a good one in terms of what Sarah shared about this. Learning never ends. Every moment is just so. The moment I think like, okay, this is over. Like even in school, like, oh, semester is over, I'm done with all that. Oh no, that's it. New work comes in. I think we can apply it also to other cases. Some of you are working, same thing. Like, oh, I'm done with this. Oh no, this new load. So yeah, that's just the nature of how things are. Even I think we can observe that in the universe, how the seasons are also manifested to us. I mean, there's constant change, right? You're like, oh, that's it, winter is over now. Okay, spring. Okay, now spring is over. Otherwise, if it's just all static, constant, I think I won't even, there won't be any learning that would happen, really. But the thing is that when you are in the moment, it's hard to recognize this, but the more you are progressing in this journey, then you're like, oh, okay, that's how the system is in terms of my human side. Like that's how I learn, develop, and grow. And yeah.
Yeah, and Brotherly kind of pointed out about the motivation that one gets. So any comment on that? How do you, like people always ask, how do you stay motivated in life? You know, even for this learning one, you know, there's like one can take the attitude of, oh my God, this is, I just, you know, can't take this anymore. This is too much, or just, all right, this was wrong, something I did, or this is something that is for me to learn from, and then I can make progress. Because I don't know, I've never ventured into maybe this particular area, but now I'm being exposed to that. It's a learning for me. And then, you know, the next time it will become something very easy for me. And then making that, you know, jump in terms of that motivation to pursue living life for a purpose.
Yeah. This motivation to pursue something, right? Like, I've been pondering over that lately. Like how should we stay motivated? Because now, especially at an existential level, it's a different worldview as opposed to the secular setting where obviously competition, you're like, oh yeah, you know, if you're in a competitive environment starting from like schooling, you're like, okay, you know, I don't want to be left behind. Oh, blah blah blah, read 4 chapters already, but it's due next week and I'm still on chapter 1, you know, like this whole thing,
materialism.
Exactly. And so but then think about this whole motivation as well, because I think the order in the universe is in such a way that things or people get employed for you to maybe to recognize this motivation for you to move on and go on. So like say, I don't know, maybe
things are set up, everything is deliberately arranged in a way that so that your learning can happen.
Exactly. So let's say you don't like algorithm, computer science, but you're like, oh, this professor, he's so charming or something, right? Like at least whatever he's explaining, it makes sense. I don't mind, being in his company for like an hour or so, right? So, but that like a little spark of motivation, like, oh, I'm not gonna give up this discipline. I'll keep going. All right, and then, but then it's for you to recognize that, what your end goal is. But I feel like the whole point of being motivated is, it's all around us. Things get implied, but like, how do I utilize it? That's another question for all of us to ponder over. Yeah.
Excellent. Anybody else would like to comment or ask anything or say anything? Okay, so we're reading the second part of the question and the answer, and I think we kind of covered most of it. Evils and calamity, on the other hand, are occasional results out of the many results of general universal laws. And since they are minor, so these are minor and required by those laws. So the one who puts the universe in the order, who is the one who owns the laws, creates them in order to preserve and maintain the laws, which are the means to universal benefits. Means to universal benefits. And the way this whole setup is, and we see this, that in the minor grievous results, the one he responds with special merciful assistance and particular dominical favors to the cries for help of individuals afflicted by misfortune and tribulations. And I know Mariam and Rian had commented on that earlier, right? And we see that, for example, the ones who are the more innocent ones, the ones like the babies and the small, or the ones maybe who are unable to really perform their duties at a certain age, the ones who are aged in particular ways, there are favors and help that comes to them. You don't have to think twice, or you just go, and if you see somebody struggling, you just go and help and assist that. So as you said, for you, like everything gets arranged in a way, things are organized, and there are like become opportunities for you to exercise, be an employee of the owner of the universe, to put his will into practice. So, and then are always subject to his, so the universal laws are always subject to his will and choice, right? So all things are tied to his will, and the universal laws too are always subject to his will and choice. And a compassionate sustainer heeds individuals who cry out at the constraint of the laws and responds to their cries for help with his favors through exceptions of those universal divine principles and general laws and their minor evil results, and his particular favors and making himself loved in special ways. That's interesting. So exceptions to those universal divine principles and general laws and their minor evil results in his particular favors and making himself loved in special ways. So different degrees get opened up even in as we see maybe sometimes it's very sunny, sometimes it's cloudy with a little less light. Different degrees are manifested, and every being kind of benefits in their own unique ways differently, according to how the order of the universe operates and works.
This is interesting.
So the degrees occur in the divine principles, but would anybody want to comment on? So I know there's like constraint of the laws, like we want our human side may feel restricted to some of the laws that, we want. For example, our life is given for a particular time period, and it's according to a certain law and principles, and we may want, although our capacity, as we were speaking, goes beyond endless this universe, but our life is not that beyond this universe, the life in this body. So we are looking for
Expansion.
something, yeah, that to operate with their
Yeah.
full capacity. Right. So there's a constriction, there's in this universe. And the law, sometimes you always want, let's say, the best crops as a farmer, right? But the conditions may not always be ideal for the best crops, or there might be some, I don't know, some termite. What do they call when they attack the plants? Is that you have to spray insecticides for them. So there might be some, or pesticides, whatever.
You got it.
So there are things that happen in the degrees of how the order happens.
So yeah, even spraying those pesticides.
Yeah, and that those are actually opportunities for me or the individual to cry and seek who is the who runs the show here, who runs the order in the universe, who runs the laws,
Yeah.
and seek help from his and seek his favors. Through exceptions of those universal divine principles and general laws and their minor evil results, and his particular favor, making himself loved in special ways. So the point is actually making himself loved in special ways. He opens up unrestricted, infinite field for the unrestricted, infinite manifestations of his names, and opens to the doors of particular manifestations. So there are like manifestations of general names, and then there are some names that we have not been introduced to, that we may never have reflected on. We never realized that we need those names as well. Whatever is being displayed and shown to us, and opens to the doors of particular manifestations.
That's a good point.
Any comment by anyone? Before we move on to the next paragraph, please make your comments. We are all sharing and learning together. I appreciate all the comments so far. This is a group discussion.
No student. It's interesting what people are thinking. What caught my attention in this paragraph is he makes himself known and loved in special ways. So the special ways, I think, is what earlier Brother Ali was alluding to, in different ways, through our needs, expressing amazement about something, being thankful about something, being appreciative about something, and even when we err, which at least for me is like most of the time, asking also for forgiveness, that realization also. So these are different special ways. So not only the degrees of things that are manifested, but the ways as well that a certain quality is manifested
in different opportunities, different things, different time, different place. Different things are happening all over the place all the time.
Sure.
Thank you, Fariha. Any other comment? Any other? So is Mariam and Ryan ready for the next paragraph? From here.
I hope we didn't put them to sleep.
The second sign of the affirmation of divine unity has been elucidated in perhaps 100 places in the illuminating lamp, and here we suffice with a brief hint to it.
That's it. So that was a small paragraph. The second sign of affirmation has been elucidated in perhaps 100 places. So this is just a summary, basically what the author is sharing here. He has this whole collection of books, which is just refreshing and really gives purpose to the human life. That's why he says he just summarized it in a way. All right, I think we're done with this particular question and answer, unless anybody wants to speak on something that we missed or that needs more elaboration. Please go ahead. Now's the time to do so. Before we start, the third sign and proof of divine unity.
All right, let's do this.
All right, Mariam, let's go.
The third sign and proof. This consists of the innumerable stamps of divine unity alluded to by the phrases, His is the dominion and His is the praise. Just as the manifestation of the sun in a mirror shows the sun, so on the faces of all things, whether particular or universal, from minute particles to the planets, is a mirror-like stamp which, pointing to the Son of pre-eternity and post-eternity, testifies to his unity. Since a great number of those stamps have been described in detail in the illuminating lamp, here with a brief indication we shall take a look at only 3 of them, as follows.
Just as on the face of the universe as a whole, a large stamp of unity has been placed consisting of mutual assistance, cooperation, mutual resemblance, and interpretation. Penetration, my bad. Among the species of beings, so on the face of the earth is a stamp affirming divine unity, placed through the army of the glorious one, composed of the 400,000 animal and plant species, all being given their different provisions, weapons, uniforms, instructions, and discharges with complete regularity and no confusion at exactly the right time. So too, on man's face a stamp of unity is placed, through each having features distinguishing it from all other faces, as there is on the faces of all beings, whether particular or universal. Also, on the heads of all creatures, whether large or small, numerous or few, a seal of divine oneness is to be observed.
The stamps on living creatures are particularly brilliant. Indeed, all living creatures are themselves each a stamp of unity and seal of oneness, and a signature of eternal besottedness.
Beautiful, thank you. So let's continue maybe one more paragraph. This one.
Yes, all flowers, all fruits, all leaves, all plants, all animals are such seals of divine oneness, and stamps of eternal besottedness, that they transform all trees into being dominical missives, all species of creatures into books of the most merciful, and all gardens into divine decrees, placing stamps on the letters of the tree to the number of its blossoms, and signatures to the number of its fruits, and seals to the number of its leaves.
In order to show their scribe, stamps have been put on the species and groups of creatures to the number of individuals. And in order to announce and describe its ruler, stamps have been set on the decree of the garden to the number of plants, trees, and animals it contains. In fact, there are 4 stamps of divine unity on trees, on their origins, ends, outsides, and insides, alluded to by the names of He is the first and the last, and the outward and the inward.
Wow, this is a serious one actually. So a lot of places he uses stamps and the faces of all things. Let me see it. Is there a stamp on my face? Is there a stamp on your face? Maria, do you have a stamp on your face? No, so it's not to be taken literally. The stamp, he means, of course, we are reading a particular book, a mirror-like stamp. Basically, whatever the thing that exists shows that it belongs to someone. It has an owner. It's like a mirror. And a mirror is only reflecting the qualities of something that is external to the mirror.
Mhm.
Right? So just when you look at your face in the mirror, you can't say the mirror is, and the face you see in the mirror is you, because you're outside the reflection that is shown on the mirror.
Mhm.
Right, so let's kind of go and see what this author is kind of hinting at. I think he wants us to conclude this, that his is the dominion and his is the praise. So this third proof to divine unity talks about multitude of innumerable stamps of divine unity. So whatever you see bears that stamp or has that mirror-like stamp on in its existence. And it shows that it is all those qualities, whatever you see, is coming from the single source of existence, that who owns the whole universe and who is the one worthy of praise. So just as on the face of the universe as a whole, so on the face of the universe as a whole, you can imagine that the whole universe as a whole, a large stamp of unity. The face of the universe has been placed consisting of mutual assistance. So you see the qualities of things that are operating in the universe. The air cooperates
Soil.
with the soil, with the trees, with the flowers. The laws that are operating gravity also works in harmony. The rotation of the sun, they all basically are cooperating, are helping each other out.
Mutual resemblance.
Yeah, so when you, for example, when you sow the seeds in the soil, so the soil is employed, the water is employed, the sunlight is employed. There are things in activity going on in the ground,
It's amazing, actually.
the soil that, they're all employed. There's cooperation. It shows the signs of cooperation, assistance, and mutual resemblance. So if you look at human beings, they all kind of look similar in a way, but then yet distinct features with distinct qualities. Everyone has their own. If you look at the plants, the fruits, all the apples may look at the same, all the carrots may look like the same, cherries, grapes, they all look mutual resemblance, yet each one has their own individual personality, each individual being, and the interpenetration among the species of beings. So they all work all together along, each one assisting the other, very working in really collaboratively, much better than human beings. When they collaborate on things, they're much more interwoven and interconnected to the things. So on the face of the earth is a stamp affirming divine unity. So based on these qualities that you are observing, this assistance, resemblance, interpenetration, how things are functioning, shows that somebody is operating on them, and it gives the stamp, shows that they are coming from a single source whose is the dominion and who needs to be praised. So it's not the things that need to be praised, but it's the owner, the one who is showing those things that must be praised. So when I'm praising, if I eat the apple and I'm not going to praise the apple. I mean, the apple is employed for me by the one who is the one worthy of praise. I thank the apple for being employed, but the praise goes to the one who owns me and the apple. And Mariam and Rayan, please go ahead.
So something that I found that was like so striking was in the first paragraph. It says, "His is the dominion and his is the praise." So by his is the dominion, I think like he's the one who's the ruler of all rulers, the ruler of the whole planet, the ruler of the whole universe, and his is the praise. And everything we use was brought to us.
Thank you. Very good point, Mariam.
Yeah, that's thank you for bringing that up, Mariam, because I feel like in my life right now, things that come in, like, somebody rings the bell, the FedEx guy drops something, somebody gives something, right? Sometimes we can get lost in people, thank you, yeah, but like, wow, we actually check the sender of the gift that's given to us. So I think this is a very good good point to live by, that everything that's given to us, starting from basic things, I may call it basic, but no, it's been sent. Like everybody's employed, they're doing their duty, whoever is dropping in, coming in and delivering me something. We get so excited, right? just receiving any just receiving any package or anything.
Mashallah.
But everything is employed, it's working within what the order of the universe, or we may call, yeah, the gravity is going on, people are using their free will, doing their thing. And but at the end of the day, I need to really recognize the real sender. So like I think what you said, Mariam, everything is brought to us. I think brought to us, like it's not from me, it's not from my particles, it's not from the sunlight, it's not from my siblings, like anything I can be experiencing, it's brought to me. And I think it's amazing to live with this reality in terms of even with our feelings that are imparted onto us. uh, our feelings are interesting actually, and emotions, they're just like clouds coming in, and suddenly it's clear blue sky and all of that. So yeah, thank you for, alhamdulillah, I'm appreciative for highlighting that. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Mariam and Fariha, for your comment. So the author kind of shows how everything that you see, and we can observe this, like all the animals and plant species, how they're like so well ordered that they resemble like an army. And he uses words like their different provisions, their weapons, uniforms, the way they are adorned, the different plants, flowers, animals, they're all, whatever they're doing, they're given instructions. Like the honeybee goes on and does his thing, the hardest working, more hardworking than a human being, I would say.
Imagine.
Right? He visits just for 1 pound of honey, 2 million flowers or something.
Yes.
It has to go and work on 2 million different flowers
It's hard
just for
work.
1 pound of honey.
What am I complaining about?
And then here is human being complaining all the time. And then, oh my God, it's too much work. Yeah, so instructions are getting and discharges with complete regularity and no confusion at exactly the right time. So there's complete regularity. So that's why, as Mariam said, that shows, this order shows whoever is ordering them, whoever is equipping them with all the different ways they are coming into existence, with the beauty of the green color, the leaves and the plants and the flowers and the animals, with their way their mouths are, with their way their body structure, everything, their provisions, uniforms, instructions, and discharges with complete regularity, with no confusion. So you can distinguish things, and everything is coming at various different times whenever you need it. Whichever different seasons are there, different produce are coming at the right time when you really need that. So too, similarly, man himself is a stamp of divine unity, where a stamp of unity is placed through each, having distinguishing features from all other faces. Everybody's, face has a unique distinguishing features. They're different. And there is on the face of all beings, whether particular or universal. And that happens on each and every thing that you see, each every being, each every face, each every creation has unique distinguishing features.
That's
all faces of all beings, whether particular or universal. Even your cells inside your body, everything has its own unique distinguishing way it exists.
May I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
It's interesting that we're going through this, because these are different qualities that we observe and experience. So cooperation, okay, yeah, I see it, mutual assistance, but like features that are distinguished, that's I think that's something to really ponder over, because it's amazing just to imagine this. Like we can even start with human beings, what's the word population, what's the number,
Yeah.
and go to like other things, the realm of the sea world, realm of galaxies, everything is different. Like even I remember a couple of times when we went to California, like we're driving by and somebody's just there with like a bunch of strawberries. I'm like, oh, strawberries, but they're all
That
different.
whole field of strawberries.
Yeah, like, but they're all different. Like
Yeah.
now I think about it, I'm like, yeah, red stuff with green little hat on.
Yeah.
Let's get it. No, like what? They're all given existence with
It's like an army.
distinguished feature. That tells you about like who's bringing it, like the one that's presenting it. It tells you about like what that source can be. And yeah, that was just interesting highlight. And there was something else. It just slipped my mind, but it's okay.
Inshallah, it comes back.
Another thing. Okay. Okay, go. I'm done.
All right. Any other comment by anyone? That was good. Thank you. So also on the heads of all creatures, whether large or small, numerous or few, a seal of divine oneness is to be observed. The stamps on living creatures are particularly brilliant. Brilliant. The stamps on living creatures are particularly brilliant. Indeed, all living creatures are themselves each a stamp of unity and seal of oneness and a signature of eternal besottedness.
This is interesting. These are big words though, eternal besottedness. I mean,
Yeah, you want to explain?
that's why I'm bringing it up.
That would be good.
And besottedness can be like that which I'm seeking. I think going back to the comments we made earlier, what's my ultimate goal? So what I experience in this universe is stage by stage progress, class by class, right? Elementary school, middle school, so on. But what am I seeking? There's always something I'm seeking. And I think when we realize that, who's bringing this into existence, right? So that's the one that I'm actually seeking. I'm explaining what besottedness means, but
it's just related to the Surah Ikhlas, Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad.
Oneness, I get it.
And that tells, basically, first you have to see the stamps on living creatures. All living creatures are themselves each a stamp of unity that they belong to, are coming from the source of existence, and they are in need of him. And that's why everything, whoever is making you, you go back to that source. You are seeking that source, the seal of oneness and a signature of eternal besottedness. Seeking that source, who is the one who is the Lord of the universe, the one who is praiseworthy. I surrender, I seek refuge with him.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is my point of support. That comes my Lord.
That's the one that's supplying all the strawberries.
Yeah.
It's not California. I don't need to move to California.
Yeah. And all the pomegranates and all the grapefruits.
It's interesting that I think first getting mesmerized and amazed with creation, and then appreciating the one that's bringing it in or the one that's sending it in, then makes you realize who this sender is, and then you wanna attach your existence to that sender only, because nothing of this universe is going to last in and of itself. Things are just means for me to connect with this eternal besottedness one.
Very good. Thank you. So let's see if we can tackle this one. The next paragraph. Yes, all flowers, all fruits, all leaves, So there's no exception, everything, all plants, all animals are such seals of divine oneness and stamps of eternal besottedness that they transform all trees into dominical missives. They transform all trees into dominical missives, all species of creatures into books of the most merciful, all species of creatures into books of the most merciful, all gardens into divine decrees, placing stamps on the letters of the tree to the number of its blossoms, and signatures to the number of its fruits. So signatures to the number of its fruits and seals to the number of its leaves. Number of its leaves. So just innumerable stamps that each thing becomes. The stamp is such, or this on each and everything that for example, the trees become basically dominical missives, that they are conveying a message from him through the tree. The one who makes the tree is talking to you.
Wow.
The tree gets employed by, when I see as a conscious being the signs or the whatever the qualities of a tree, if I'm trying to understand and read the tree, what its qualities are pointing to, that seeing it, the signs of unity that is coming from the source of its existence, then there's communication happening through the tree, via the tree, to the source of my existence, or the source of existence of the tree.
Can you do the same thing with a duck?
You can do the same thing with anything, with the duck or the chicken, the eggs, everything that you encounter. It becomes a means of communication. All species of creatures into books. So every species is transformed into books that you can just keep on reading. They're like so meaningful. You can write volumes on each and every species. That's why, when you go into research, you can just keep on continuing researching on that particular one species, and it's never ending.
Yeah, but not to sidetrack on just like a story of something.
And books are the most merciful. So basically the books are his books that he is authored. For example, just like we say this in the speech form, the Quran is a speech of my creator. In the universe, all the creatures become the books in act and in the way they exist. Meaningful books of the most merciful. And all gardens into divine decrees. So somebody is communicating, the one who has set up the trees, the owner of that garden is starts communicating with conscious beings. Placing stamps on the letters of the tree to the number of its blossoms. So that many stamps on on the letters of placing stamps on the letters of the tree to the number of its blossoms. And this is gets a little technical here, all the way to the end. Placing stamps on the letters of the tree to the number of its blossoms, and signatures to the number of its fruits, and seals to the number of its leaves. Each and every minute detail has a stamp and his signature, in order to show their scribe. Tells me about who is the one who owns them, who is the one who is forming them, who is the one who is bringing them into existence, who is the one who is taking care of them. So it shows, in order to show their scribe, stamps have been put on the species and groups of creatures to the number of individuals. Stamps have been put on the species and groups of creatures, every creature, to the number of each and every individual. Nothing is ignored. Everyone gets their share.
Okay.
You know,
so-
like in your class, some students, they say, okay, some people get extra credit or they get a gift. No, everybody gets it. Everybody passes.
Yeah.
Nobody's ignored. No child left behind. There was a policy before that we used to make fun of before in the education system. Okay, so stamps have been set on the decree of the guardian to the number of plants, trees, and animals it contains. Now this one, I need help with from all of you. In fact, there are 4 stamps of divine unity on trees, basically surrounded by all over the place, front, behind, outside, inside, on their origins and outsides and insides, alluded to by the names of. So the names of the one who owns, who's the owner of the universe. His is the dominion, his is the praise. He has the name of Awul wa Akhir. He is the first and the last. Awwalu wa Akhiru.
Oh,
He is the
interesting.
first and the last, and the outward and the inward. I don't know the Arabic for that. Outward and the inward. Somebody may know it, but it's
Zahir and Batin, maybe? I don't know.
yeah, maybe that may be. So Quran chapter 57, verse 3. So we have maybe not much time, but can somebody, maybe Brother Ali, would you like to speak on something to enlighten, share some thoughts with us?
About the first and the last and the outward and the inward, then it will be explained, inshallah, in the following paragraphs. I'm just waiting for you.
Okay, inshallah. Yeah. So you think we can do it next week, inshallah? Go over this, then how we see the names of He is the first, the last, and the outward and the inward. I think Brother Ali says it's talks about them in the next
Okay.
paragraphs. Inshallah, I didn't see that. So thank you, everyone. If there's any final comment, we can take it, or anything that anybody wants to share. I'm excited, inshallah, to learn what's going on next, inshallah. So looking forward to it.
Inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save that which you have taught us. Indeed, you are all knowing, all wise. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati surati al-Fatiha.
Ameen.
Ameen. Thank you, everyone.